It's Christmas Day 2008. Aside from its religious significance, a day usually associated with joy and forgiveness. In the spirit of the day, I'd like to keep things positive and upbeat. So I'll tell a little story about the ghosts of Christmas past and present, and end with a statement of hope for Christmases yet to come. In Christmases past, if I got caught robbing a liquor store to support my drug habit, there would be little in the way of forgiveness for me. For the crime of stealing a few $100s from the owner of the liquor store, I would have to serve time in jail. And you know what? That would have seemed fair to me, because I got caught doing the crime. I should expect to do the time. But that may all be changing, because in Christmas present, somehow $700 billion plus worth of damage has been done to the economy of the country, and not a single charge has been filed. Not a single person arrested. In fact, you, and you, and you, and you are going to be asked to chip in to pay for the loss. Not only might you lose your house, or your job, or your ability to put food on your family, but you will be asked to pay for the privilege. Some people were making a lot of money when their schemes were working, but when things went wrong, did they have to suffer a loss? No, because they were too big to fail, or because if they lost anything, it would have a devastating effect on the rest of us. In other words, you have to play by the rules and suffer the consequences of your actions, but they don't. In fact, you have to pay to ensure they don't. If this is confusing you and maybe scrambling your moral compass, you are not alone, because this is a crisis as much of our sense of justice and fairness as it is of our economy. Many of us are starting to see the vague outlines of a double standard taking shape. It's okay for some people to steal, but not you. In fact, the government sanctions certain kinds of stealing, and now even subsidizes it with money they take from you. Right about now, some of you are starting to put names and parties to the government that's allowing this. But I want to say to you, it's not about parties. It's about policies, and the difference makes all the difference. Clinton handed it to Bush, and Bush will hand it to Obama. And if you insist on blaming just Clinton and Obama, or just Bush, you miss the point, and ensure that nothing will ever change. You have to see past who is doing it and focus instead on what they're doing. It's not the who, but the what that matters. Parties are a smokescreen. The personalities are just actors in a play. In Christmases yet to come, whether the recession is over or has gotten worse, a lot of money will have changed hands, and I hope we have something to show for it. Any company that received taxpayer money should be owned by the taxpayers until it either pays the taxpayers back with interest or goes out of business, with all involved walking away broke without a dime to their names. Any other deal is unacceptable, and the government that would make another deal is not a government that's working for you. Now this may sound harsh. You may say, what about the employees of these companies? It's not their fault. And I say, then let's find out whose fault it was, and punish them, and take back every dollar that they made doing whatever it was they were doing that caused this mess. We cannot live in a world that allows a handful of people to make outrageous amounts of money doing questionable things that result in the collapse of the economic system, and then demands that the rest of us now pay these same people as the best and only way to save the very system they just destroyed. Yet this is happening now. A sense of accountability must be restored. The economic train wreck, whether real or imagined, that has caused U.S. taxpayers to go trillions of dollars into debt must be untangled. The system reformed, the guilty punished, and every dollar accounted for. If not, all bets are off, and it's every man, woman, and child for themselves, baby, in a dog-eat-dog world that's going to be hard on everyone, including the rich, who despite all the protection they can buy, won't be spared. So in closing, I issue this dire warning. We've been turning the world upside down with self-deception over the last many years, calling victims heroes, pollution clear skies, imperialism liberation, and the list goes on and on. With the latest actions of our government, we are being shown that the difference between right and wrong, fair and unfair, is contingent. The rule of law applies only to us at the bottom, while at the top, they write the laws to suit themselves. If this glaring injustice is not reversed, if we cannot put the ground back under our feet, it will be bad not just for the average law-abiding citizen, but for all of us. If these shadows remain unchanged, the Christmases of the future will be a lot bloodier as people rail against gross injustice by abandoning any common concepts of right and wrong and commence to just go at it. Let's look toward the Christmases of the future For our sakes and for the sake of the day, let's re-establish the connection between what we say and what we mean. Let's demand there be only one justice, and that it be equally applied to all. Merry Christmas.